Hi guys, and welcome back to another Christmassy DIY video with Carly at the Needle and Hook Nook. It is December 18th, officially 1 week until Christmas Day. Well, this time next week we'll be getting our Christmas on. Yay. And we had our last Christmassy themed crochet class yesterday evening. And we all have that friend that we never know what to get for. And I have one that I've known basically for 42 years. And I've bought her everything. So I didn't know what I could make her that was a little personal. Her favorite flowers are poinsettias, but she most definitely does not have a green thumb. She goes out at the beginning of the season, spends a small fortune on poinsettias, and then ends up replacing them at least 4 times before Christmas Day. So this year I thought I'd crochet her some. I want them to be super big and blousy, quite a statement piece. So I will be using a really thick, chunky yarn. The same yarn I used for the placemats. It does call for a minimum of a 5mm, but I want them to be quite tight. So I'm actually using a 3mm hook, and I'll be using US terms as always, starting with a slip knot on our hook, and we are going to make a chain of 5, and we're going to slip stitch to that first chain to make our loop. Now the front floret of a poinsettia normally has 4 petals, sorry, and each petal is going to be 2 single crochets. So we're going to chain 1, and into that ring we just created, we're going to make 8 single crochets. So in through the front of the ring, wrap at the back, pull through, and 2 on our hook, wrap again and pull through both. And we're going to repeat this until we have 8 single crochets in our first round. I'll meet you guys back at the end. So we have 8 single crochets, so we're going to slip stitch to that first chain 1 space to finish round 2. Now the second round, or the second floret, normally has 5, not always, but normally has 5 petals. So now we want to increase our 8 to 10, but we're only going to be working in the back loops. So chain 1, and then into the first back loop of the first single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 into the second, 1 into the third, remembering back loops only, and then into the fourth we're going to do 2 single crochets, and then we're going to repeat this again. So 1 into the fifth, excuse the kids in the background, 1 into the 6th, still only working in the back loops, 1 into the 7th, and then 2 into the 8th. So now we've turned our 8 single crochets into 10 single crochets on round 2. And then we're just going to slip stitch to that first chain 1 to finish our work. Now if we'd increased in every stitch, our piece would be lying flat, but we don't want it to, because this helps the petals stay in their position. So we've got our 10 now single crochets. So we're going to start the bottom floret. So we want these to be slightly longer. So we're going to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, just checking the length, no, 13. So 13 for the bottom floret. So they're the wider ones. So we're going to chain 13 and then, 14. I like the 13. and we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then half double in the next one. So we're going to double crochet in the next 9 along, and that should leave us 2 left over. Then in our 12th chain, do that one. In our 12th chain, we are going to half double crochet. In our 13th, single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next chain along, then slip stitch into that next chain. Oh, mine's very, very tight because I'm using such a tiny hook. And then we're going to repeat what we've done on the last one. So we're going to chain 14, 13, 14, skip the first one, single crochet into the next, half double into the next, then double crochet all the way down. In my case it's 9 double crochets, but if you've made your petals smaller, it's until you have 2 chains remaining. So this is my 9th, then half double crochet and single crochet. This is getting really, really tight for me. I wish I'd used maybe one size up on the hook. And once I get that through, then slip stitch into the next chain and slip stitch into the next chain, and repeat this all the way around until you have 5 petals, or 5 half petals actually, and I'll meet you guys back at that point. So we've just completed our final single crochet on our last petal. We've slip stitched to the base to complete, and now we're back to that first half petal, and where we did the single crochet, so it'll be the 13th down in my case, we're going to mirror what we did on the other side. So single crochet opposite the single crochet, half double opposite the half double, and then again in my case, because I had 13, we're going to have 9 double crochets in a row opposite the double crochets. So 9 double crochets, 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet, and this should bring us to that point where we had that 1 chain that we missed at the top. So into that chain of 1 space, we're going to slip stitch, really tight, then chain 3, and slip stitch right back into that space. And now we're going to slip stitch our way down the other side, so we should have 13 slip stitches in a row, taking us back down to the base of that first completed petal. So that's 13 more slip stitches, slip stitch back into the base, and there we go. And now we are going to work on the next petal, doing exactly the same as we've just done. So single crochet opposite the single crochet, half double opposite the half double. My case, 9 double crochets in a row. A half double crochet opposite the half double, single crochet opposite the single, then again slip stitch into that chain 1, chain 3, slip stitch back into that same space, and then slip stitch all the way down the end. And we're going to continue this for all of the other 3 petals. So we've got 5 petals in our base in total, and I'll meet you guys back there. So I've slip stitched down the end of my 5th petal, and we're now going to chain 1, and we're going to move over to those center front loops that were left remaining, as we worked only in the back. And we're going to slip stitch, so we've got 8 here, so that'll be 4 petals. So we're going to slip stitch over to the closest one available. So we just go under there and through to attach to that first front loop. Now we're going to chain 10, as we want these petals to be smaller than the 5 foundation petals. So again, we're going to skip that first chain, and we're going to single crochet in the first, half double in the next. Now, as we've only got 9 chains to work in, it's going to be 5 double crochets in a row for this one, or for these smaller petals. At least if you chained a different number for a different size of petals, just remember you'll have the single crochet and half double at the front, single crochet and half double at the bottom. So whatever your chains are, so mine would be 9 minus the 4 leaves us the 5 double crochets. And we're basically repeating exactly what we did with the foundation row. Only difference is the petals are smaller, so we have fewer double crochets in between, and where we had 5 petals on the bottom, we only have 4 on the top row. I've shown you how to do it on the base, so I'll leave you guys to finish that bit. Of course, my battery decided to die when I was doing the leaf section, but I did them exactly the same way as the foundation, only I did just the 1 set of single crochets, and as I've got 3 petals, I only did 6 single crochets into the loop. And I did 12 chains for the length of my petal. Obviously, you guys do them as long as you want them. Just remember, minus the first single and half double, and the last single and half double, and the rest is your double crochets in the center. Set exactly the same way as the petals. Now to assemble my flower, I need to make the little stamen sections that stick out the middle. Now this green was a bit thick for wrapping, so I actually split this into 3 sets of 2 strands, and I've got my 3 pieces of garden wire. I've just slightly bent the ends over so it's easier to adhere my yellow yarn to. And this was fine being quite thick. So this bit is nice and simple. Just going to attach a little hot glue using my very ancient little hot glue gun and attach the yellow yarn. As I said, if you bend it over a little bit at the end, it does make it a little easier to adhere. And then we're just going to wrap that yellow around. It's getting quite hot. So wrap that yellow around. Be careful not to burn your fingers. And we just want to do the very tip of that stamen. Obviously make it as big as you want, depending on how big your flowers are. And then I'm just going to bend it over again to hold that in place. And then we shall stick that down a little bit more, add some green. So grab our green, and to help secure that yellow a bit more, is we're going to wrap the green around just a little bit of it. A centimetre will do fine. The hot glue should do the job as well. And just wrap that down to the preferred length that you want your stamen section to be. Now this is going to be the bit that is actually protruding out of the inside of the flower. So don't go any further than that, as it will make it a little more difficult to thread the pokey things through the centers of the flower when you're ready with all 3 completed. So if you want to complete all 3, I'll show you how simple it was just to assemble the entire flower. So now my 3 stamens are completed. Now initially I left the green attached as I had the idea of just pulling that green through afterwards. We'll see how that works. And I didn't tighten the holes in the center when I did my initial ring, and it was for this purpose, as it is now so easy just to thread each of those stamens through the center of our flower. Then exactly the same with those leaves, through that center and push them all up into place. Now my genius idea to try and pull those strands through at the end wasn't so genius, so I cut them off at this point and I will reattach them on the other side. It might have been easier to sew in those little off strands before assembly, however, I just decided to do it at the end. The ones in the center I don't really need to sew in, so I just snipped those off. So now we've got everything assembled. We've got all our petals in place. I'm just going to attach some hot glue and push it up so that the flowers all stay at the top and those stamens are nice in place. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same as I did with the stamens, just with some slightly thicker yarn, as this is the stem. And again, I'm just going to wrap that all the way around, securing all 3 of those pieces of wire together. And I am going to make this stem exactly as long as I want it to be. Mine are going in like a little crochet bowl that I'll be making, so I don't want them to be too long, but just as long as you want them. If they're going in a vase, then obviously make them longer. I absolutely love these flowers. I am sure she's going to love them too. This one I made a little shorter as I decided I'm going to attach this one to a Christmas hat for her. As I said, the girl really, really does love poinsettias, especially at Christmas time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you give this gorgeous little poinsettia pattern a go. If you enjoyed it, please hit like and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys again soon. If I don't do another video before Christmas, I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas. Bye.